Retro.
Are you an aspiring Jedi, or do you dabble with the dark side of the Force?
Regardless of whether you fancy yourself a defender of the light or an aspiring Sith Lord, you're going to need a lightsaber.
Podcast Stardust is pleased to partner with Saber Masters, the creators of high-quality, durable, and affordable lightsabers.
Saber Masters is preparing to launch the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0, and right now you can get 2 for the price of 1.
So, check out the link in our show notes and go get your Ultimate Lightsabers from Saber Masters.
And don't forget to use our referral code STARDUST to save $10 at checkout.
And each purchase using our referral code helps support Podcast Stardust.
Hey, this is Catherine Tabor, Senator Padme Amidala from Star Wars The Clone Wars. And you're listening to Jay and Dennis on Podcast Stardust. Stay on the light side.
Welcome to Podcast Stardust. This is the fully armed and operational podcast dedicated to Star Wars news, reviews, and discussion. I'm Dennis Keithley.
And I'm Jay Krebs.
And it's time to look at some recent Star Wars news. But before we dive into that, Jay, I want to remind everybody where we can be found around the internet.
No news here. We are very easily found on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust.
Okay, the digital line, the signal is boosted to maximum output. The shield is down. We are now broadcasting to the galaxy. So all the listeners that we have here in the United States, happy tax day.
Oh, yeah.
Not only is it Monday, it's tax day.
Boo. No. We'll make it better with some Star Wars. That's
I got to finish mine. So, yeah. Oh, well. So let's dive into it. Up first, we have some movie news, and that is that James Mangold's Dawn of the Jedi movie has gotten a co-writer, and that would be Beau Willimon, who wrote 3 episodes of Andor, including the famous One Way Out episode. So what do you think about this, Jay?
Well, heck, that's all I need to know. If he wrote One Way Out, he's awesome. Because that was, honestly, one of the best episodes of the season. And Andor, just in general, was a great series. But I mean, if that's the kind of things that he's bringing to the table, then I'm on board for sure. But what do you think?
No, I think this is fine. Movies these days typically have multiple writers on them, whether it's initial drafts and rewrites later or co-writers or script revisions and the like. But he did good work on Andor, so I don't have any qualms about this whatsoever. It's hard to say much more beyond that because we'll have a general idea about what this movie is, the birth of the Jedi and discovery of the Force and that type of things. We just don't know a whole lot more about it other than that. So yeah, okay, fantastic. But we know we're getting The Mandalorian and Grogu in May of 2026. Don't know when we're getting this movie. I don't expect it before 2027 at the earliest. So okay, just file that one away and keep in mind. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, right now we're just scratching the surface. So later on we'll dig in.
Well, with that, let's just head over some book and comic news. Up first, this week saw the release of The Living Force by John Jackson Miller. So I've got my copy. Have you got yours? And have you had a chance to check it out at all?
I do have my copy, but I have not cracked it open yet. I have been really busy with a lot of cosplay stuff here lately. And so I'm hoping to find some time very, very soon to dive in and really get into it because this is one that I've been looking forward to. I actually pre-ordered it way back in December for GalaxyCon Columbus. And that was how I got my Living Force poster from John Jackson Miller that he actually signed. And that's how I got our bumper as well that we have from John Jackson Miller. So I know we've talked about him as, one of our favorite authors. And I know, as you said, that you've had a chance to dive in. So I'm very curious what your initial reactions are.
Yeah, so I'm over halfway through the book right now. I've been doing the Whisper Sync and Kindle swap version of the whole thing between Kindle and Audible, I should say. I like it. I like it quite a bit. It is not quite what I expected, which is really par for the course for just about every Star Wars book these days. Just some non-spoiler thoughts on it. It is cool to see the entire Jedi Council doing things. We get more dialogue from a lot of those characters than I think we've ever received before. That being said, this book is reminding me an awful lot of some of the High Republic stories that we've been told, which is not necessarily a bad thing, maybe a little bit derivative. There are some High Republic references in there, so I'm glad to see that they are tying these eras of Star Wars together. So that's cool. But yeah, and again, about I think I just checked, it was about 60% of the way through the book. Yeah, it's definitely worth a read so far. So we'll have our full review probably coming up sometime in May, would be my guess on this.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, that's fair. And, just even the couple excerpts that we've gotten that we reviewed have been a lot of fun, so I'm definitely
Yeah.
looking forward to it.
All of those are within the first 3 or 4 chapters.
Okay.
And chapters, this is the format of the book where, like, a chapter can be like 5, 6 pages or something like that. So there's lots of chapters there.
Mhm.
And I'm glad you brought up the excerpts, because we read the one where the stowaway found somebody, found other stowaways, and
Mhm.
we were intrigued with that. Yeah, that reveal's a little disappointing. So
Aw, okay.
it's okay. I mean, it really is okay. It ties together some of the other scenes and stuff like that, but the way they left us on that cliffhanger from that excerpt, I was expecting a bit more. And we talked about that in our last news episode. So anyway, yeah, don't spend a whole lot of time speculating on what that might be, because you'll be disappointed. But it's not necessarily. Look, okay. Let me be clear. The book is not disappointing. The fact that they gave us that excerpt and set it up that we might be expecting something more is, if that makes
Mhm.
sense.
Mhm. Totally.
Okay. Well,
Totally makes sense.
yeah, go to your bookstore or order on Amazon.com. Check it out. It's definitely worth it. In other book news, we have cover reveals for 2 upcoming High Republic books. The first of which is Beware the Nameless by Zoraida Cordova, which is arriving August 27th. And the second of which is Tears of the Nameless by George Mann, arriving on September 27th. And I believe we also got the Mace Windu book coming up like right after that too. So we're gonna have a busy fall when it comes to Star Wars books. Get a chance to check out these covers yet?
Yeah, very cool, very colorful. Now, these are both middle grade novels, correct?
Beware the Nameless is. Tears of the Nameless, I believe, is the young adult book.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. So anything with Nameless, of course, we're still unraveling the mysteries of the Nameless. I mean, we know a little bit more about them with each and every type of reveal that we get from these books. But yeah, it's still an entity that is very creepy and very intriguing at the same time. I think I like the Tears of the Nameless one just a little bit better. Just looking at the colors with the teal and just the lighting and everything like that is just really cool. But the Beware the Nameless has a very interesting, little companion there in this hut that they have with them.
Yeah, I don't have any details about that. I don't know if they've been
Yeah.
shared elsewhere. I didn't get a chance to look this up. The central character on there, and I can't remember which one, but that's one of the characters that's in the most recent Belgrade novel that Ram Jamaram is with.
Mhm.
So there's that. I don't know who that hut is. It's interesting to see the hut wearing a vest and having goggles on. It's kind of like, almost looks like
Yeah.
Ram Jamaram got turned into a hut.
Oh my
Um,
gosh, that's a good call.
yeah, but I'm with you. I really like the cover of Tears of the Nameless. That has Reese Silas and Azazu, Padawan Azazu on the cover of it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's really cool. It's cool to see Reese, who's now a Jedi Knight, in action again, because since we got him in any significant role, he's been largely relegated to the archives on the Jedi Temple. And spoiler alert, if you haven't finished uh, the Eye of Darkness, no, I'm sorry, Defy the Storm. At the end of that book, again, spoiler warning, we see him with Aslan Rel, who was the Jedi from Phase 2 of the High Republic that fell to the dark side. And they're looking at that desiccated hand from Kair Santeca.
Right.
So yeah, that's the last time we got to see him, and he had a very, very, very small role in that book. So,
Mhm.
I'm hoping this means that he has a larger role in this, and this is just not a tease on the cover.
Yeah, and I like Amadeo Azazo too, just from what we've seen of him so far, and I like his characterization, and I'm definitely buying into his character, so I'm really excited to see him in action.
Yep. So those will be coming out later this year, and I'm looking forward to it. Okay. Perhaps the biggest story that we've got this week has to do with the story trailer for the upcoming video game Star Wars Outlaws, which will be available on August 30th, and you can now pre-order various editions of it. The game is going to have, as been revealed on your pre-order options, is that it's going to have at least 2 sets of downloadable content in the future as well. That'll have new missions and things that you can do on it. So that's pretty cool. Did you get a chance to check out the trailer?
Oh yeah, so good, so good. And I know when you sent it to me via text, the first thing I was like, "Oh, Kira sighting. Oh, Han and Carbonite
Yeah.
sighting." And quick aside before we even dive into the trailer is that there are already cosplayers out there nailing the look of Kay Vess. It's almost like, "Oh my
Arthur.
gosh,
Wow.
like,
Okay.
yeah, how do these people do this?" I'm working like 10 months on this, these builds and they're over here like, "Hold my blue milk, let me just go build this right away." And they look fantastic. So more power to them. But yeah, I'm so excited to see how this plays out. And again, I may not actually ever play the game, but I'm really excited to see the cutscenes because if those are anything like this trailer, then it's just going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch and what a cool ride. But what were your thoughts?
Well, I liked it well enough that I went ahead and pre-ordered the game.
Nice.
And with that, I think it's 3 days of early access to it when it's released. So there's that. So if you're interested in the game, go pre-order it so you can get it early. And then the there's a few pre-order bonuses. I'm not exactly sure what they do. If it gives you a new speeder and ship, or if it's skins for the speeder and ship, or the things that are
Mm,
shown there. But anyways, there's a lot of different versions of this game, and by that I mean what extra features you get, not different games, but that you
yeah.
can order for this right now.
Nice.
But yeah, so let's dive into the trailer. It starts off what I believe is Canto Bite, and we have this character we learn his name's Sliro, who is the leader of a new criminal organization called the Zarek Besh, and he's called together a meeting of various criminal syndicates that include the Pikes, Crimson Dawn, under the leader of Kira, as you were just talking about, and the Hutts. And he's giving them a speech that it's a golden age for the underworld because while the Empire is cracking down everything, they still are distracted by an unrelenting rebellion. So they stand to make millions on this. So that's a nice setup.
Yeah, it is. And it was just really cool just to see all of those cartels, just right there. And the idea that Kay just talks about how there's so much of this out there and that why not profit from some of it? And there's a rebellion going on that has just been ongoing. And there's a lot of things going on underneath people's noses that she's going to end up, wanting to profit from. So I
Right.
just thought that the way that they set it up was just a really great idea.
Yeah. So we get quite a brutal introduction to Kay as this
Yeah.
Sliro is talking to these criminal syndicates. We get a shot of her, and she's talking to some Solistan who she then smacks his head on the table. And then there's another character that's talking to her about how she's Klaus Sliro, who's and we come to find out in an article on StarWars.com that he's put an incredibly gigantic bounty on her. But the suggestion is made to her that she can rob his fortune and buy her freedom. So it looks like the plan is for her to steal something from Sliro and then pay Sliro with it in order to get the bounty lifted.
Mhm.
I have no idea how accurate that is, but that's the impression I got from the trailer. So and then later there's a bounty hunter who is kind of different than most of the bounty hunters we've seen. It's this woman who I think shaved her head and not particularly wearing a lot of armor or anything like that. But most bounty hunters we think of being the heavily armored type, with the exception of maybe someone like Cad Bane. But
Mhm.
she's like the most relatable looking bounty hunter ever, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, and Star Wars always does a great job of keeping us on our toes, just when we
Mhm.
think we know all of the different types, like what does a bounty hunter look like and what is this and what is that? They shake it up, which I think is
Mhm.
awesome.
And then they give us a lot of shots of things that we've seen. We know part of this game takes place on Tatooine. Uh, we get to, as you mentioned earlier, she's looking at Han Solo frozen in carbonite at one point. So that seems to suggest that this game, we already knew it was set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, but it's also set after the events of War of the Bounty Hunters,
Mhm.
where Boba Fett has delivered Han and carbonite to Jabba. And so this would be also post, like, Kira's auction from
Oh,
War of the
yeah.
Bounty Hunters of Han and carbonite as well. So
Mhm. Mhm.
give us a little bit more precise idea of when this game takes place.
Yeah, that's a nice placeholder for sure.
Yeah. And then she's trying to get one over on Java and make some reference to this whole place is surrounded by mercenaries and the Gamorreans aren't having it, and just kind of shove it right in front of Java. He's like, okay, we're skipping that part. So nice little touch of humor there.
Yeah, and I just like the fact that this game seems like it's just hitting all the high points. You've got your
Mhm.
bounty hunters, you've got your different cartels, and then you've got your creatures like sarlaccs and crate dragons, and then all of your fun ships and. I mean, it just keeps going.
Yeah, we get a couple different scenes of her and her little pet, Nyx
Mhm.
there, and Nixon goes and steals a blaster for her. That was cute. We get to
Yes.
see where she steals her ship. And then there's some really impressive looking scenes with she's sliding into a Sarlacc pit.
Yeah.
And then they get a shot of Death Troopers. They're there, an ATST, and a Crate Dragon.
Mhm.
So they're pulling out all the stops for this one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they're just hitting all the notes for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was excited enough to go ahead and pre-order this game. My 16-year-old was excited when I told him that. So, yeah, look for it on August 30th. Get your pre-order in now.
Sweet.
So we've got Season of the Force happening at Galaxy's Edge right now, and with that, we get the announcement that Sabine Wren will be appearing in Galaxy's Edge as well. Uh, I thought this was cool. She looks great, in my opinion. What did you think of
Oh
based
yeah.
on the image they showed us?
Perfect. I mean, just a perfect Sabine. You just right off the pages of the animated show and right off of the series itself.
Yeah, I've
She did
seen
a
a
great
number of people posting videos online of like her appearing in the same place as Ahsoka at Galaxy's Edge.
Mhm.
So I thought that
Mhm.
was a pretty cool touch.
Yes, there was one I know specifically where, the Ahsoka cosplayer or character is kind of down in one of the lunge stances that Ahsoka does with one hand out front and then one back, and then Sabine kind of standing up next to her, and yeah, it's a really cool aesthetic for sure.
Yeah. Well, it's just another way to engage with these characters, which is pretty
Right.
cool. So,
Mhm.
yeah, but that's not the only thing going on. We had talked about this some time ago where the Imagineers were working with these prototype BDX droids. And now that's the type of droid that we got to see in the Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor game, BD1. And they've got a little pack of them that they have roaming around Galaxy's Edge as well. And apparently they've been out quite a bit since Season of the Force started on April 5th. Have you watched any of the videos of these?
Yeah, they're so cute. I
Mhm.
just love BD droids. I just think they're amazing, and they're just, like, wiggling their little backsides and just kinda marching around, and they're almost like little ducks. I just think
Yeah.
it's so cute. Like, I would love to be able to experience that.
Yeah, their little dances that they do,
Mhm.
they can bounce from foot to foot and the way they interact with people, and it's a neat touch. One of the things that was supposed to happen when Galaxy's Edge was in the design phase and the playing phase is that there were supposed to be roaming droids, and it just hasn't worked out the way they planned because it can be difficult to get droids just free flow over that terrain. Not to mention, you always have to have a handler nearby, which kind of
Mhm.
does something to the immersion of it as well. And not to mention, if they were unsupervised, they just get mobbed all the
Oh,
time
yeah.
by
Oh,
people in
for
the park.
sure.
So it's, again, not worked out quite the way they planned. But I'm really excited that they are pulling in these other aspects of Star Wars. And these droids, we've had one that's shown up in The Mandalorian, but they originated in Jedi Fallen Order.
Mm-hmm.
And so to bring something from that source, I think speaks very highly of their attempt to integrate the entire galaxy of material that they've got.
Oh, for sure. And we keep seeing this more and more, I feel
Mhm.
like, as well. So yeah, bring it on.
Okay. Well, the last bit we got is that we've been talking about this for a while as well, but the new scenes for Star Tours are available. You can go to Cetos and fly amongst the Purgle, get some transmissions from Ahsoka, Cassian Andor, and Din Djarin and Grogu and the like. So, several new surprises that have been worked into Star Tours. I don't have a trip to Walt Disney World or Disneyland planned anytime soon, but when I get there, I really hope I get to see that scene.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I'm hoping that it's something that they're gonna cycle in and out and
Mhm.
not just, for a season of the Force. And but yeah, that maybe it'll be a mainstay as we go forward. And then they'll just keep adding to it. It's almost like a jukebox,
Yeah.
Which one do you want?
Well, typically in the past, what they've done is that when they add new scenes, they kind of set it up so that because that's a draw for visitors to the park. And what they don't want is people like going on the ride 6 times and not getting the new scene. So
Mhm.
they will, at least for a while after the new scene's been added, they'll make sure that everyone gets it when they go through the line. And
Mm.
then later they'll randomize it again. So you may or you may not get it,
Mhm.
which works for me. Anytime I go to one of the parks that has Star Tours, I'm likely to be on it several times because you have all the Star Wars attractions. It's one of the fastest to get through.
Yeah, it
And
is.
yeah, especially compared to Rise of the Resistance, which if you don't buy the lightning lane,
Yeah.
you could be there 1, 2, 3 hours or so.
Right.
So
Right. That's a big chunk of your day.
indeed, indeed. But hey, another reason to go back to the parks. Don't know when that's
Yep.
going to happen, but can't wait to check it out.
There you go.
Okay, well then that'll do it for this week's news. Thanks for joining us here on Podcast Stardust for that. We hope you've enjoyed the episode, and if you want to make sure you get all of our future editions of the news, which are coming out either on Mondays or Fridays right now, hit the subscribe button on your podcatcher of choice, and those will download automatically for you. Also, let your mind you can find all of our past episodes over on retrozap.com, which is home to several other great podcasts covering various geek topics. As always, we greatly appreciate your 5-star ratings and reviews on whatever podcatcher it is that you use, especially if that's Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Both of them are great resources for helping people find shows. And please don't forget to share the show and your favorite episodes on social media with your friends. So with that reminder, Jay, remind everybody what our social media contacts are and where else we can be found around the internet.
Sure. The rundown on that is very easily at Facebook, Instagram, and X at Podcast Stardust. And we have tons of boards over on our Pinterest page. And as Dennis was talking about, we have our YouTube channel. So we have our regular YouTube and our YouTube music. So head over to both of those, like, subscribe, and share. And then we have our real time chatter going on our Discord room, which is part of the RetroZap Discord server. So if you want to get in on that, just go to our show page and click on the community tab. It'll take you right to where you need to go. And the link is also in our show notes, so you can check it out there. And then we also have a T Public store, and the link to that is also in our show notes. We got all kinds of stuff going on in our show notes, so make sure you check those out. Dennis works really hard on those. So we have all kinds of apparel and home goods, and there are 7 different show logo designs available. So again, check that out. And another thing you're going to want to check out is Saber Masters. So you can get a 2-for-1 deal right now on the Ultimate Lightsaber 2.0. And if you go to sabermasters.com, you can check out all of the different types of lightsabers, tons of varieties available. And if you do happen to decide to get something, make sure that you put the code Stardust in at checkout. It will receive $10 extra for you and off of your, not on, but off of your sale price, and will also help out the show. So that is at sabermasters.com, or once again, you can hit up that link in our show notes. So with that, Dennis, I know you've got some new episodes of Warp Trails coming out here because your new season has started. Yay. So tell everybody about that.
Yeah, as you said, my wife and I are putting out new episodes of Warp Trails because we've had Star Trek Discovery Season 5, which is the final season of Discovery, premiere just a week ago. We're going to try and get those episodes out on the weekend after they premiere, or that Monday or Tuesday, whenever our schedule allows. Again, that's exclusive to the RetroZap podcast feed. So if you want to find that out, just go to your podcatcher of choice, look for RetroZap on that, and you'll be able to find those there. And if you can't find them there, then head over to directorsapp.com. Look for the Warp Trails page, and you can find all of our current and past episodes covering everything from Discovery to Picard, Lower Decks, and Strange New Worlds there. Jay, I know you are heading off to do some cosplay, or you actually just got back from some cosplay. How'd it go? You don't know based on when we're recording this, but what is going on in the near future?
It's a revolving door of cosplay. Let's just put it that way. So it's either something going on or something just happened. So yeah, so I've just got back from Fan Expo Cleveland. So posting tons and tons of pictures. I'm sure it'll take me weeks to get through all of the adventures there, and can't wait to share all of the report, all of the fun here very, very soon from that. And then I will be also heading up to Worcester, which is actually right here, very close to me. And we've got that coming up this coming weekend. And then in May, on May the 4th, I've got 2 different appearances, and I may have some other things going on as well. So check out all of the fun, all of the cosplay, and all of the great community over on Instagram there in the cosplay community at j.snips cosplay.
All right. So upcoming on the show on Wednesday, we have the next edition of our Phantom Menace series, discussing the film for its 25th anniversary. And then on Friday, it will be our next review of The Bad Batch. So thanks for listening to episode 716 of Podcast Stardust, everyone. Have a great week. And until next time, may the Force be